Just three radio hosts on air dumb debating.
So I was listening during the sideshow, which is when Jack fills in or is with us. He does his own little commentary during the breaks on the YouTube. Yes, we know his mic is live. That's the whole point. It's a great way to pass the time. But no, you don't get to fill in much on Wednesdays. A lot of the reason is because, Creighton's usually playing on Wednesday.
Is that what it is?
Probably.
Okay.
I mean, we had a Tuesday game, and it was a home game. But now this is Josh obviously being gone, but that's probably one of the main reasons, because usually Wednesday we don't need fill-ins. But anyway, you get a crack at dumb debate.
I was excited. I honestly don't know. It's been years, I think, since I've been a part of it, and very rare times have I even been a part of it at all. So I'm excited about this.
Well, then let's start with something that was brought to our attention earlier this week, and we actually talked about it with you. But it's this ladies' night promotion that Nebraska Ball is doing at the Vault, and one of the giveaways for ladies' night is a Fred Hoiberg air freshener.
Mm-hmm.
Michael Bruntz, friend of the Grum, Husker 24/7, asking the question, which air freshener of a former Husker player or coach would you like to receive as a giveaway? And I'll add this, what would it smell like?
What does margarita mix smell like for Scott Frost?
Wow. By the way, are the I haven't seen the Hoiberg air fresheners. I don't know if you have. Is it just like his face that hangs down? Is it like a car air freshener?
Yeah, if it's what's on this promotional spot on YouTube, and I had one of these. My wife ordered some air fresheners of the face of my dog. It was just a generic smelling. It's just a generic smelling air freshener, but it was Wrigley's face. So I'm assuming it's Fred Hoiberg's face.
I like to imagine that it's actually one of those Febreze spritzer things, and it's just a little plastic figure of Hoiberg that just spits out scent once in a while.
Oh, I agree. Paul has the right answer. First of all, I would buy Danny Nee. I don't need a Hoiberg air freshener, but a Danny Nee air freshener would be amazing. That's my first one. And I like his head right there. When I'm driving around.
But I had the old car. I kept Wrigley's up there, even though the air freshener had worn out years ago. But it was a reminder. Hey, there's my dog.
Hey, there's Danny calling. I feel like I would impute him swearing at me while I would do this. It would motivate me to be a better person, right?
Listen, I guarantee you, if it was the Danny Nee air freshener, that just like every picture that was ever published of him in the Journal Star or the World Herald, it would always be of him in mid-scream. It was never the posed photo of him, in the media guide smiling with his suit on. No, every time there was a picture and they just put the courtesy photo of Danny Nee, it would always be him of, his face contorted and he's screaming and, losing his mind. That's what the Danny Nee air freshener would be. By the way, not to give you any ideas, Nebraska Ball, but maybe think about a Danny Nee air freshener next year.
We do full collection. Full collection, right?
I would say this, the one air freshener of a former Husker player or a current Husker player or coach that I would not want is the Randy Gregory air freshener. Because the air freshener is supposed to mask the smell of what Randy was usually doing. So I don't think the Randy Gregory air freshener, it would defeat the purpose of what an air freshener is supposed to do.
Yeah, that's true. And I definitely there's probably no lineman just generally that there's any smell with that associated with them in any way that I'm going for.
Well, the Rob Zadiska air freshener would smell like anesthesia because, he's famously an anesthesiologist, so it might put you out.
Maybe. I'll tell you what, the worst smell, one of the worst smells I've ever experienced in my life is coming back into a high school football locker room for the second two-a-day of a summer day and opening your locker and then touching your pants and starting to put them on your leg and they're still wet with your sweat from the first practice. That's a smell all on its own. And I associate that with most football players. So Probably the only thing worse is hockey players and the smell that comes from them.
Oh, there's no question. The worst place to sit at a hockey game is anywhere close to the bench.
Ugh.
Do you think any of these?
I sat the last Lincoln Stars game I ever attended, and it's probably the reason why it's the last Lincoln Stars game I ever attended. We had tickets right behind the Stars bench, and it was the one sporting event where I was like, I have no desire to eat any or drink or eat anything right now.
Do you think any of these old coaches would smell air fresheners would smell vaguely of Speed Stick?
Well, I would think that the Devaney air freshener would smell like spilled bourbon.
Yeah, somebody said that already on the chat, on the YouTube chat. Keena says Jack Gangwish raccoon scent. Oh my gosh, that's a good one. The wrench. Oh my gosh.
Oh, I like it.
Jordan says Vers would smell like pizza. Yeah, I'm at Versal one that smells like pizza. That sounds good.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
Good.
The Ed Foley air freshener would smell like any one of the cafes he's visited the last 2 years.
Just like a
vague, like a giant pork tenderloin.
Yeah, like a vague tenderloin smell. That's a good. That's a
vague
good food
tenderloin.
one.
Vague tenderloin might be a band name, Nick. Put that on the list.
It might go on the list. I've got a dumb debate.
All right.
From Pedro. Hi guys, dumb debate. Surfing music. Does Gen Z have anything like that music? I don't know what a Gen Z version of surfing music.
Do they mean like music, a genre that sort of coalesced around a single activity?
I'm guessing that's where he's going.
That's where I'm going to take it, I guess.
That's where my mind went.
I don't know. Is there any other Gen Z or not? Is there any other genre that is that directly associated with a single activity?
How about this? We had back in the early 80s. Remember when we had music created thanks to video games?
Yes.
Pac-Man Fever.
Pac-Man Fever.
Now it wasn't as big as the surfing movement because it literally gave birth to one of the worst bands ever created, the Beach Boys. But I mean that's a small one.
I mean,
we don't have like a gaming one today, or
Well, we have video game music. It's actually really good. It's just not that popular.
Yeah, but the comparison, the best comparison to surfing music is probably music associated with skateboarding. Would be my sense.
Oh, ska.
Ska. Well, ska wasn't all that out there, but when I was in elementary school, but being a skater and skater music had the same sort of kind of feel not the feel as being a surfer, but in terms of an activity that the music was around and about and the whole lifestyle. That's probably it. But there's not like golf. There's not like a genre of like golf music.
Could you imagine golf? What would golf music?
And it's not only music that you associate by the sound, but it also talks about that activity, right? Half the Beach Boys song has the word surfing in the chorus.
Correct.
So there's not like hey, we're going golfing.
Could we call the Red Hot Chili Peppers California music? They mention California a lot. In The Killers, they mention Las Vegas a lot.
They do, but that's not the same as an activity. It's not an activity. It's just like a play.
NWA mentioned Compton a lot. I think there's a lot of people that shout out locations.
All right, here's another locally, bringing it back local. What about Husker fanboy music?
Oh.
There was an entire album put out by Coca-Cola that was dedicated to this that my friend had, and I remember every song.
Coca-Cola.
Such hits as Nebraska 67, Kansas 1, Big Red Fever. What is it? Sooner Knuckleheads Don't Belong. I mean, it was a whole album. And we used to get, back in the day, people would send us random, when Eric Crouch was going for the Heisman, they'd send us an Eric Crouch fanboy song. Or
I got tons of those. Yep, I've got CDs sent to me with fan songs multiple times.
Yeah,
actually, Sad Husker fan and Dave might be onto something with like Snoop Dogg, or there's not just Snoop, but there's a lot of songs
weed.
About weed or other drugs.
That's true.
Specifically around those.
That's probably true. There's a sound to them, too, to some degree. Mm-hmm. Well, that's probably true too of different drugs as well. Yes, more modern ones, but yeah, that's true. But back to the fan, you just mean like fan created music?
Yes.
But it didn't ever get much. There was a time when Husker related music got a decent amount of radio play. And I know
Yes.
I'm pretty sure Josh and I talked about this on the last time a few times ago I hosted with him, but like that Husker reggae song got a decent amount of radio play in the 80s. Radio stations then the other thing is like radio stations would make songs that were they weren't necessarily like mock songs, but they would put out songs and the DJs would do songs, right? And those would be played on the radio a lot. Like I know them, I remember a few of them that they used to do, but they got some radio play as well, which doesn't happen anymore.
Now, we may have to help redefine this question, but when I saw this, it wasn't actually meant as a dumb debate. It was just a question directed at me, but I thought when I knew Jack was going to fill in, we're definitely going to add this. Phil asked me earlier this week, favorite fast food pizza chain.
Favorite.
Now,
how do you define that first?
That's where I think we have to look at this as
national.
I mean, obviously, nowadays pizza's different. It used to be way back when pizza was a dine-in experience. It wasn't a big carry-out delivery thing. And then, of course, Domino's and everything. And then it became, so you got to eliminate not that there's a lot of the dine-in chains, because pretty much everyone eats pizza now.
What if it's a dine-in place that also has a drive-through? Could we consider that? If it has a drive-through, could we consider?
First of all, drive-through pizza is
drive-through.
That's an Iowa thing. It's an Iowa thing, and that's why Nick knows it.
There's 2 of them in Omaha. At least.
I didn't see it until I went to Iowa, and now I see them in Iowa all the time. And Pizza Ranch does it too, and they came from Iowa. It's a huge Iowa thing.
Godfather's does it here. There's a Godfather's here that has a drive-through.
I had no idea.
Lighthouse Pizza has a drive-through.
It's an Iowa thing.
I've only ever seen it here.
I guess I would just narrow it to chain pizza.
So national chain,
national or regional.
But like it's got to be like we're not talking about like old Chicago. Old Chicago is not in the same group as like Domino's, right?
I don't think so.
If it's a local or do you say local or just regional?
Local/regional.
So do we have to define what a chain is? Because 2 doesn't feel like a chain, but once you're at 3,
well,
that feels like
obviously, Val's is a chain. Godfather's is a chain.
Yeah, those are the national chain. See, I'm thinking of Domino's. I could probably name them all. Domino's, Pizza Hut, Godfather's, Papa John's. What am I forgetting? Little Caesars. What else is in that group? That I can think of that genre pretty clear. I mean, there's like only like 5 or 6 of them.
Yeah, I guess you're right. It's kind of narrow.
So of those,
yeah,
it's what's weird. So my wife has celiac, and she cannot have gluten. It's not like a preference. She really has it. Pizza Hut does not have a gluten-free pizza, but Valentino's does, Casey's does, Domino's does. I don't remember when the last time I had Pizza Hut was. It is so long since I've had Pizza Hut, and I probably would rank that number 1.
Well, I talked about this on the show. Was it yesterday? The wife just brought Pizza Hut home on Monday, and I didn't recognize it.
Oh, really? That's terrible to hear.
I did not recognize it. It did not.
No.
If I would have been blindfolded and fed this pizza, like if I taste Valentino, I know Valentino's. You know, I can be blind. Hell, my taste buds could be turned off. I could tell it was Valentino. Same with Godfather's. And it used to be I could tell the same. Could not tell that it was Pizza Hut. It did not taste like Pizza Hut.
Did she get pan crust? That's all I ever get.
No,
that's problem number 1.
It wasn't pan. I think it was thin.
I like Pizza Hut's thin crust, but
I used to have both the pan and the thin. I mean, I you just know it, and a lot of pizza is defined by the sauce.
Yeah,
right. I mean, the sauce really, you could tell. Could not recognize it as Pizza Hut. It was good. I even had some left over today for lunch, but I didn't recognize it as Pizza Hut. So, Jack,
that's sad to hear.
I'm about to blow your freaking mind. But to answer this question, Valentino's, number 1.
I don't even count Valentino's in that group. If Valentino's a group, Valentino's.
Oh, you're not going to count Val's?
Listen, first of all, we know my thoughts on Valentino's. It's great. It's very good. I know. Don't at me. I know what you think. I don't want to hear what you think. So
I've
if you dump,
completely done a 180 on Val's. I never disliked it. It's just I attended way too many Husker sporting events, and it just got old. But now that it's an every now and then, and I've also discovered that the air fryer is the best way to reheat pizza. Game changer.
I don't know if you're counting that opens
All
up
right,
a whole
well,
can of worms. Let's go with the national chain.
Let's just go national
Okay, well,
chains.
I think Val's should count though. It's a chain. There's multiple restaurants in the area. I think it counts.
So is pizza. We have to count Pizza Ranch now too. We've got to count. We've just opened a whole bunch more that we're counting.
Well, then let's just go with the national ones: the Domino's, the Papa John's, Pizza Hut, Little Caesars.
Okay, I'm gonna
Godfather's. I consider that national.
No, Godfather's is local.
See, I think
it's as local as Valentino. It's Valentino.
That's crazy to me. I never knew that. I never really.
Because Godfather's was born right here in Omaha.
Yeah, it's weird though. I feel like Godfather's not anywhere else other than this area.
No, it's in other places. It's bigger than Val's, but I would not count it as national.
Well,
sorry, Jack.
I was just going to say, well, based on what I remember, Pizza Hut would be number one, but maybe that's changed. But Pizza Hut would be number one for me out of that group. Number two would clearly be Papa John's for me.
Mm-hmm.
Domino's is last. And I mean, I don't like Little Caesars has had so many evolutions. I don't know what to consider them anymore either.
So hear me out. Hear me out on this one. If you want fast food pizza, literally the fastest pizza you can get is Little Caesars.
Sure.
Yes.
And Little Caesars, the problem is they have a very specific window of when it's good. And that is when you first get it, and if it's been sitting out for a little bit. It's bad when you reheat it, and it's bad cold. But for that window, Little Caesars is the best fast food pizza that you can get. Because you don't have to wait for it. If you want pizza, you don't have to call it in. You don't have to wait 20 minutes.
I have never even thought of the term fast food pizza before. I don't know. I still don't know what that genre is. I understand.
I think the question was about just the national brands, the Papa, those.
Yeah.
And it's considered fast food, but it's really not.
Mass consumption pizza, Charles.
Mass consumption.
That's what I would say. Yeah.
I would go, and this is based now on my latest experience with Pizza Hut. Okay. I would have put Pizza Hut number one. I put Papa John's number one.
That's my one, too.
Then Pizza Hut. I have not had Domino's in forever.
Domino's has fallen out of favor with me lately, except for their thin crust, because their thin crust doesn't. If it's the same sauce, they don't use the same amount of the sauce, obviously, but their sauce is way too sweet. I can't stand pizza sauce that's too sweet.
Then you hate
pizza sauce should be more savory than sweet.
Then you hate Valentino's. Yeah. If we're involving. Because it's very sweet. That's why a lot of people don't like it. If we're involving like regional chains, I don't know. I might put Casey's on top. Did I just say that?
We do frequently back home in God's country, as I call Iowa. Yeah. We say that Casey's is a pizza place that sells gas, not a gas station that sells pizza.
I'd put Casey's up there.
I'd put Casey's up there. I mean, I'd put the ranch up there too, but that's a lot of nostalgia talking. I'd put the ranch probably.
Which number date was that? Pizza Ranch.
That was every time we ate out in the town that we lived in.
Pizza Ranch catered my graduation party in high school.
Let's go.
It was great.
Just the pizza, or did you get the chicken too?
Well, see, my mom loves the chicken, so she got a bunch of chicken, and I made sure that we got the loaded mashed potatoes because it's my favorite.
Yeah. But if I'm alone and I'm ordering pizza, it's usually Papa John's. And it's partly because I get so excited about the stupid dip. That's the bigger thing.
It's good dip.
It is good dip. The garlic dip is good.
I am paying for that as much as I am for the pizza.
Here's one that I've stumbled across on Twitter. If Disneyland is the, quote, happiest place on earth, where do you think the saddest place on earth is?
The saddest place on earth. AT&T Stadium in January. Josh isn't even here to enjoy it.
Is there an Applebee's in Gary, Indiana? Because I'd like to put that one in there.
Wow. Harsh.
Like sad places that you walk in, restaurants that used to be bopping that aren't anymore. We kind of talked about that at the beginning, like the current iteration of Famous Dave's, and like, oh man, this place used to, like, old places that used to be hopping and they're just not. That's a sad place to go. Like nursing homes
how about
can be
like
sad. Like
well, I'm trying to keep it away from
hospitals.
truly sad things.
Yeah.
More sad as a concept, as pathetic than.
Yeah, I want haha sad, not like depressing sad.
How about
old malls, crossroads,
old malls?
There's no mall there anymore.
Well, when you was still
like
there.
the last indoor skating rink.
Skating
rink.
Yeah, a ball pit at a Chuck E. Cheese.
Oh yes, like
any place that still has
honestly just Chuck E. Cheese.
Like 3 arcade games that haven't been changed out since 1990.
Oh, the Pizza Ranch in Harlan, Iowa.
Sure. I mean, that's a good though. That's a good. I mean, it could be anywhere. It could be in a hamburger joint. It could be in a roller skating rink. It could be in a movie theater. But any place that has like arcade games that obviously have been there since 1990.
I want to circle back to malls. Oakview has gotten mad depressing over the last 2 years.
Really?
Oakview is rough, right?
See that in that place I go back to the Bees era that we talked about earlier. That place was hoppity hopping.
The Applebee's next to there is closed down now.
Oh
Jack.
my gosh,
I pass by it every morning.
Hopping. They had a Bennigan's in there, I think. The place was hot.
There was a pretty good Philly cheesesteak place in the food court at Oakview. R.I.P.
Yeah.
Charles, very specific. Men's bathroom on I-44. Peter says Long John Silver's.
Oh my gosh, the Long John Silver's on it's now closed on North 27th and Lincoln. That was that is definitely the answer to this though. Places that were once, were once popular or good, and then just seeing them being in those buildings when they're not. That's what it is.
Listen, my childhood. I mean, I wish. I'm hoping that one day after we all pass from this earth,
rip,
that when we get there, we get the analytics printout of all the stupid stats that we've accumulated in our lives. Because one of the things I want to know is which fast food restaurants have I been to more than any other? And I guarantee you from the ages of 7 to 15, that Long John Silver's would be very high on the list because the Bishops ate a lot of Long John Silver's.
Mine is...
And it was in the era before the chicken strip became popular. Mm-hmm. It was the one place you could get the chicken planks. And being a non-seafood guy, I always got chicken planks. And I loved the chicken planks at Long John Silver's. I haven't had Long John Silver's since the fateful Halloween of, I believe it was 2014, because I believe that's the Royals Giants World Series. And the wife brought home Long John Silver's, and I was going to give out the candy, and I had the Long John Silver's and got food poisoning. It was the most painful way I ever got out of not having to give away the Halloween candy. Have not had Long John Silver's since.
Woof.
That's good. What's your number one, Nick? Fast food when you get your
Taco
stats.
Taco Bell. It's absolutely going to be Taco Bell. I love Taco Bell.
This is a great dumb debate in itself. When you get your printout with all your metrics at the end, what will be? I mean, there's tons of them you can get. You could talk about tons of these that we could discuss. But for fast food, man, mine'll probably be Amigos number one.
Yeah,
I feel pretty confident. Amigos will be number one.
I want to see the gallons of ranch consumed on your report.
I bet, you know what I bet? Number two will be close between, it'll be a battle between Runza and Culver's, and probably like McDonald's from my youth will be in there a little bit.
Yeah, I hate to say, but I think mine will boringly be McDonald's. Just because it's always been there, and
the older I live, the more McDonald's is going to go down the shit.
Sure.
Like, if we were taking this in 1992, it would be McDonald's far and away. McDonald's and Burger King won too, right? But now, like, how you see, what I hope you can see in heaven, Josh or John, like, when they do the national champions, like all of the national champions, and they have the years go by and they show you the bar chart move along. Yep. I hope they do that with this fast food thing.
Another stat I think I'd like to see is the amount of songs individual songs.
Yes, playlist for individual songs. Agree.
And how many times I've listened to each song.
And what is really my most watched movie, and how many times did I watch it, right? True. Like all of that. that kind of stuff would be.
Oh, Hero Sandwich Shop in Fremont would have been high on my list. We used to eat there all the time.
Right.
It was basically Fremont's knockoff of Little King, and it was delicious.
I feel like you'll get like this printout, and there'll also be like graphics, and it'll be
and
like,
WC
you ate 8 swimming pools, right, worth of ice cream during your lifetime, and all these sorts of things as well. The other thing I hope that you get is like a highlight video of all your weirdly good, no matter how good of an athlete that you were or weren't, a highlight video of all of the times that you did weirdly athletic things. Right, like threw a piece of paper across a room and made it into a trash can, like from a long ways away. Made a diving catch on something that was about to fall off a counter. Like I want to see
the one that I will be watching, like the YouTube video that I just can't stop watching, will be the time that I was 1-on-3 in gym class war ball and took out the 3 best jocks in 5th grade, and all I did was just intentionally. Basically, Sam Darnold overthrow everybody, and they were all cocky and thought they could catch it. So they would all jump up and try to catch it. It'd hit their hand. They'd be out, and I took all 3 of them out. It is still probably my greatest athletic achievement of all time.
I have a similar one where it was just me by myself in gym class in dodgeball. The rest of my team was in jail. Basically, the entire other team was around. I had 2 balls in my hand, and I was just deflecting. And I managed to pop one up and catch it when the most athletic person in our school was next up to get out of prison on our team. Then he came in, I got out, but then he got everybody else in.
Yeah.
I won that for us. I did that.
We all have those, but I hope they also enhance them to make them look as cool as we remember them, because I don't want them to be disappointing, right?
Oh, yeah, it's never going to be in HD.
Yeah, like very enhanced.
I want a sky cam and everything.
Yeah.
You know?
Right. I want one with just Pat McAfee on the side commenting on it, right? I want the coach's room.
All right. Well, that was a good dumb debates.
It was.
Good dumb debates.
I can't stop thinking about the fast food rankings now. Your end of life fast food rankings.
I'm thinking of that bar chart right now that you see all the time.
1982, 1983.
We get to 1982. Oh, W.C. Franks is way out in front. Oh, 1983. Right. Now it's sinking back.
I would just love to like runs a fly in there when we moved to Nebraska, just like boom, you know.
I like that idea. I also hope that mine is in the format of a John Boy secret base video.
I know what you're talking about. Yes. Yep. Yes. Yes.
I mean, 1990 when I discovered Subway, it just shot up the charts, and then here comes Jimmy John's.
Oh yeah, go back down. I seriously want to see this so bad for like it probably exists for just like the most popular chains during those times, so which alone would be entertaining to watch. But seeing the quick ups and quick downs would be incredible.
Yeah.